Hello. So now we are going to start with the new part. What's the new part that we are going to see? It's shortest path algorithms we'll see. There are two basic algorithms, Bellman-Ford we'll see and Dijastra's algorithm and their applications. So first we'll understand basics of graph and shortest path. So graph representation, as we all know, so we'll revise it that there are two basic adjacency list and adjacency matrix that could actually represent undirected graph and directed graph. In first example, there are 5 vertices with 7 edges of undirected graph that have the adjacency list, where adjacency of 1 is containing 2 and 5, adjacency of 2 is containing 1, 5, 3 and 4, adjacency of 3 containing 2 and 4, and so on for adjacency of 4 and 5. Then the adjacency matrix of undirected graph is actually symmetric from the diagonal, that 1 is directed towards 2 and 2 is also directed towards 1. So in this, actually 5 cross 5 means n cross n, number of vertices cross number of vertices. This is dense representation, adjacency matrix. So the adjacency matrix is actually more space consuming because this required more space as compared to this. So this requires lesser space. Then in the adjacency list and adjacency matrix of directed graph actually have this type of directions, and for one, adjacency of 1 would actually contains 2 and 4, adjacency of 2 is containing 5, adjacency of 3 is containing 6 and 5. Then the v square, again the number of vertices square multiplied by number of vertices, means 6 cross 6 is the size required. Dense, again dense requirement. So it is having, again this doesn't have the symmetry because there is a fixed way of representing that direction. One the vertices is directed towards 2, so there is 1 here, so it's not symmetric. Next, shortest path. What is shortest path? So for example, in the road maps, for example, for a country, you have want to distance between pair of cities. How the pair of cities could be, that pair of cities could have the shortest path? So that could be possible if you have the adjacency intersections, means the roads were intersecting, and at that intersection you are choosing the minimum path, and you are keep on following certain route which is having minimum weights, means with minimum distance between the various intersections of roads, and this is how you actually reach the from one city like Delhi to Mumbai in India with shortest path. Then you actually have to deal with such enormous number of possibilities, means you, if you keep on changing the roads and keep on changing the paths, then you'll have many number of roads, and this is how you could able to get it with brute force algorithms. So force algorithm requires to manage all many number of possibilities, but we need to see some fixed algorithm that is not brute force, and that should have fixed and intelligent way, or dynamic programming or greedy algorithms should be there that could actually give us the shortest path in less amount of time with less number of possibilities. Then you actually need to model the graph of that road. So the road map could be modeled into graph, and where the edges is the intersection of the roads, and the edges are basically representing the segment between the intersection, and these are the weights. And what is weight here? Weight is road distance. But in the other examples, there could be possibility of other kinds of weight. So other kind of weight could be possible, like time could be a weight, cost could be a weight of an edge, penalty could be a weight of an edge, loss or any other quantitative measures in case of logistics and other things. So this is the basics about shortest path. Then if you want to mathematically formulate this shortest path problem, then you have a graph. You denote graph with G as V comma E, vertices comma set of edges, where edges are having the real valued weight. What is weight of path P is defined as P equals to V0 comma V1 up to the Vk, and the sum of the weight between these vertices is actually constituting the total weight of the path. So the sum of how do you denote and write it? So you are basically providing summation of from I to K. So I to K means anything from 1 to K you are doing. So you are having the V from I comma I minus 1 comma V1 Vi. So you are adding up the distance between V minus 1 Vi minus 1 to Vi, means any I that you can choose. For example, you choose 1, then you have 1 minus 1 V0 comma V1. So V0 comma V1 distance between this would be written. Then Vi will be 2. So 2 minus 1 V1 comma V2. So the distance between Vi and V2 would be added up, summation would be done. So you'll get the weight of that path. Now we are defining what is shortest path weight. So this is just a weight between these pair of vertices, but we want shortest path weight. It is denoted by delta of a distance of u comma v from vertex u to v, and it is written as mathematically like minimum weighted path, this one minimum from vertex u to v, from vertex u to v. And there, if there is a path between u and v, and if there is no path, means v is not reachable from u, then it could be denoted as infinity, means there is no possible path and the distance is infinity between u and v. If there is a path, then it is minimum of wp, and denoted it like this. Then you have the shortest path from vertex u to vertex v, and it is defined with the path p, with the weight denoted as this wp equals to d delta of u and v, distance of u and v. And we'll see the shortest path property. So the paths are directed in the mostly in the case of shortest path, but this shortest path could also be possible in the case of undirected, but it will be much more simpler. So we are interested towards direction, and we want to study for the directed path. So the usual direction would be from source to target. This makes the sense of shortest path. Otherwise, without direction, the shortest path doesn't make the sense, and it will end up like a minimum spanning tree or something. So in the path, you basically think for a direction from source to target. Then the weight are not necessarily distance. As we discussed, the weight could be time, cost, or anything else. Not all vertices need to be reachable. Means suppose a vertex T is there and it is not reachable from S. So what we defined for this condition, we defined infinity for this condition. It means that no shortest path between S to T, because there is not at all any path between S to T. Then the negative weight introduce more complication to the solutions. So it may be possible that some weights are assigned negative. Then shortest path are normally simple, means it's less probability to having a parallel or cyclic loops, this type of thing. Then the shortest path are not necessarily unique. It means that there are multiple paths that are lowest weight from one vertex to another vertex. It means that there could be multiple possible lowest weight path between two vertices. So there is possibility of multiple shortest path. We'll see the example of this. And there is also possibility of parallel edges and self loop may be present in the shortest path. We'll see how it is possible. So there are three variants. Now we'll discuss three variants of shortest path. First one is single distance shortest path problem. How it's so it's the single distance and we want to reach a particular destination from a vertex. So here the destination is fixed and you want to reach it from each vertices of a graph. So there are n vertices and there is one vertices which we considered as destination, and there these n vertices want to reach to the destination vertices. So T is assumed to be a destination vertices and all other vertices would become the source vertices. So all the source vertices, there are n number of source vertices and there is one fixed destination. But what you'll do, you do the reverse of this, means you reverse the edges. So the destination, what you are saying as T, will actually reduce to the single source shortest path. Means this T will become what? This T will become the source in the reversing reverse order. So when you do the reverse, then T will become, then this will reduce to the single source shortest path problem and you have the T as source. Then the most important part, that second variant that we'll discuss in detail, and this will cover actually the first and third one also. So the second part we'll discuss in the detail, single pair shortest path problem. So finding, as we had already explained this in detail. So this is the definition that we had given for the shortest path problem. So you have a source vertex U and you want to reach to the V. So there is a fixed source U and there are many vertices possible and you want to reach to all the vertices from S. So this is a single source shortest path problem. Then all pairs and shortest path problem. All pairs shortest path problem means you want to find a path from U to V for each vertices of each pair of vertices from U to V. Means whatever be the pair of vertices, means V1 V2 V2 V3 V3 V4 V1 V3 V1 V4 V1 V5. So all these are the possible pair of vertices and you want to find shortest path between all of them. This is all pair shortest path problem. How to solve it? Just run this algorithm, this second one, run it for the all the vertices considered to be as source. So you are considering each vertices as source and you are running this problem and you're finding this type of result. Then we'll discuss shortest path tree. What are the shortest path tree? So it is a subgraph which contains G dash with vertices V dash and E dash, where the vertices V dash is the subset of vertices V and this is edge, and so edges E dash is a subset of original edges such that it follow the three conditions. What are the three conditions? So the V dash is the set of vertices that is reachable from the source, as we discussed. So S will be the root node, and G dash forms a rooted tree with the root considered to be S, as we discussed here. So this is definition, and these are the three conditions. Then for each vertices in the V dash set of V dash contains many vertices and all the vertices should have unique path from S to V in the G dash, that shortest path tree, and you have the shortest path from S to V in the G. Thus this is shortest path tree. We'll see the example for this shortest path tree. So the shortest path are not necessarily unique. Means there could be multiple shortest path possible and multiple shortest tree you can say possible in the weighted graph, and a weighted or directed graph could have two shortest path tree. This is the example for the two shortest path tree with the same root. So how it is possible? So you have this S, and this S is the source node, which is actually reaching T with 3. And you can also this there is also possibility of reaching this Y. How you can reach Y? You can reach Y with this one 5, and you can additionally reach it from where? This way you can reach. So there are two ways to reach out 5. So how it's possible? So it's basically possible if you follow this yellow border, this 3 and this one. So 3 plus 2 what? 5. So there are two ways to reach this vertices Y, means yellow and green. We are highlighting with both yellow and green. So yellow and green are the two ways to reach Y. Again, if we see further, reaching this 9, how we can reach this 9? We can reach this 9. We are marking it as blue. If we try to reach it from 3 plus 6 equals to 9, 3 plus 6 equals to 9. But there is another way to reach this 9. What is the another way to reach this 9? So we are marking it as red. So blue and red. So 5 plus 4 is also 9. So you can see 5 plus 4 is also 9. So you are reaching with two ways to the x, with this path as well as this path. Again, if you consider this 11 z1, so we are marking this z with this color purple. So purple as well as the dark blue. So there are two ways to reach this z. One is this one, 5 plus 6 equals to 11, and there's another way, as we have seen, the 9 plus 2. 9 plus 2 is 11 again. So you can reach this like this. So this is how actually they had created. So they had given the two possibilities of reaching these T, X, Y, and Z. How they had represented this? So in this example, first one, you have basically marked with yellow. So yellow is the way you are reaching T. Again, they have marked this, no, green one to reach the. So this green one is being marked to reach Y. And now they are in this example, they are using this blue one to reach X. So they are using blue color to reach X. Now they are actually reaching this Z with the dark blue. It's dark blue, this one. So with that dark blue, they are reaching from here. So you can see this is how they have actually used this example. Now, in this example, they are reaching from with this yellow one. Again, there is only one way to reach T, only this yellow one. Now, this time they are actually extending this yellow 3 plus 2 to reach this Y with yellow one. Now, what they are saying they are using this red path to reach the X. So they are reaching X with this red path. Now they are again saying that we want to reach with the this purple one. What's the purple one? Purple to reach the Z. This is the way they had reached the 9 plus 2 equals to 11. So this is the two possible ways of representing the shortest path. And there could be other ones, multiple ways also, like you can produce this edge and this edge, and you can actually reach and make another graph. So there are other trees are also possible for this. So it depends on you how you want to reach, because there are e- multiple shortest trees possible. So but in all the cases you have noticed one thing common. What is the one thing that is common? We'll write it down. Distance from S to T is 3. So in any case, this is 2, 3 is there. But there are many ways to reach Y, but all of them have the distance 5. Similarly, you have X. So the X could be reached in the 9 weight with any ways you want to reach. Then you have Z. Z could be reached out in 11 ways. And that 11 is true for all the graphs possible, all the trees possible. So next we'll see the shortest path algorithms. So Bellman-Ford algorithm actually considers negative weight, and it allows the negative weight. And this Bellman-Ford algorithm actually detects the negative cycle, and these negative cycles are not allowed. So the negative cycle can be detected by the Bellman-Ford, and you cannot have that negative cycle in the Bellman-Ford algorithm because this creates some error in the results. And we'll see all these things in detail. In the Dijastra's algorithm, there's negative weight are not considered. So this negative weights are not considered. In any of the algorithm, in both the algorithm, there are two ways: this initialization and relaxation. So we'll see first step, that is initialization of the algorithm. So what you want to do, you want to create distance, you want to find distance of v from the source node. So you denote it as v dot d, which should be upper bound. Initially we set it as infinity. So upper bound, what is the upper bound of that? Infinity means we set it as infinity in the initialization for the reaching from source S to V, assuming that it is not reachable from V node, is all the V nodes, means all the vertices are not reachable from the source initially. And we are saying that V dot D is actually a path estimation way, shortest path estimation way. So we want to update this according to the shortest path. So the in the initial level, all these initialization would be done in order of V times. And you set this parent of the vertices v as nil, means there is no parent of vertices v, and you are assuming that source is reachable with zero distance, means there is no distance at all required to reach the source. So source, you are already at source, so there's no distance you need to process. Next, the concept of relaxation, most important concept over here. What you will see it with an example so that it would be easier for you to consider. Thereafter we'll see the algorithm. You want to do the relaxation of edge u and v. You want to do relaxation of edge u and v. You have a given weight of v comma u comma v as 2. This was the given weight, u comma v as 2. Now what do you want? You want to estimate the minimum reachability of v from the some source. So there are two examples that we'll see. These are the two examples that we'll see, and both have different conditions. So this is source node. So there is some path, random path. This any number of vertices could be there. and it is reachable to u with what distance? 5. So 5 is the way it could be reachable. But when you will do 5 plus 2, what will be the result? 7. 7 would be the result. And what was the initial result? 9. So in the first case, this is written as 9. V dot D is written as 9 initially, which is greater than what? U dot V. What is U dot V? Which is 5. Then summation of weight from U comma V. This is 2. It is given 2. This 2. Okay. So what would be the result? This 9 is actually greater than 7. Actually 9 is greater than 7. So you remove this 9 and update it as 7. Means V dot D is 9 over here. Now you will change it you will change it as V dot D as 7. Why? Because it is smaller in size. In this example, in the next example, what you'll say, there is some source S, and somehow with a random way you can reach it to U. How you can reach it? With 5 distance. Again, this U dot V is same as 5 over here. And there is some random path to reach this V with 6. In older case also you have some random path to reach this V with what? 9. 9 is the initial way before the relaxation. So this 6 and 5 is there. Then you have to do what? Relaxation. How? You are saying that it is easier to reach V via U. You are saying that you are putting V dot D. What was V dot D? 6. And you find that 5 plus 2. 5 plus 2 is what? 7. You get that this condition 6 is less than or equals to what? 5 plus 2, because 5 plus 2 is 7. So this 6 is correct. Means V dot D is 6. And again the V dot D should be 6, because there is no possibility of doing relaxation. Means the shortest path do not go via U. Means shortest path of V do not go via U. Means this will be true, this will remain true, and this path will not be considered. And in this case, in the first case, you are saying that there is path from U to V which is having 5, and there is path from U to V which is again 2, and S is reachable from V to V. S is reachable to V via U. So U would be the middle weight. U would be the middle weight. And the path will be 7. And in this case, actually the same concept will be applied. This S will be there, and S have the some path 5, and S would have the 6. So this, there will be 2 different path, and this will not be considered for the shortest path. So I hope this example was clear to all of you. And we are formulating this relaxation. How we want to formulate this relaxation? We want to formulate this relaxation because we want to estimate the shortest path, and because we are updating the predecessor, because predecessors are keep on changing, and that's why we want to keep on change the shortest path. And this is what it means by relaxation. Then Actually, all the most of the algorithm basically differs it how many times the relaxation should have to be done on each edge. This is first criteria of difference between the algorithms. And what was the order in which the relaxation should be done? So how many times relaxation should be done to each edge, and what was the order to do the relaxation of each edge? These are the two main criteria where the relaxation makes difference between the algorithms. So in first we'll see in Dijastra's algorithm, the shortest path is actually basically directed acyclic graph, and it has been relaxation being done for each edge with exactly one time. So each edge will be relaxed with exactly one time. Then we'll see Bellman-Ford algorithm actually do the relaxation for each edge v minus one time, means number of vertices minus one time. So this is the basic difference between Dijastra's and Bellman-Ford. Then the we'll see both the algorithms in detail, and this is the algorithm for the relaxation. What is that algorithm? So it says that there is a possibility of relaxation for reaching v from some source vertex via u. Via you want to reach, this is via. So this is via, this is the destination vertex, and this is some weight between u and v. This is weight between u and v. So there's possibility of reaching some vertex v via u with weight w. How it will be done? Relaxation would be done or not done? You have to first check this condition. What was the condition? That there is some source S, and there is some node U, and there is some node V, and there is some random path like this to reach what U. So random path U would be there. Now there is some random path like this to reach V. It is saying that whether we want to do this relaxation or not. So whether we do this relaxation or not. How it will be true or not true? When it is saying this v dot d, means this current value of v dot d is actually greater than means the current value of v dot, this current distance, this one current distance, this one is much larger and larger as compared to this distance plus this distance. So you have two distances. Distance one, what we say v dot d, and there is second distance, this one. What we say this? We say u dot d plus w. When what do you want to consider? You want to consider least one, whichever will be the least, you will update v dot d according to that. So if this is lower, this is less, then you will say that you update this v dot d with u dot d plus w u comma v, means this is a function. So for getting the distance and weight between the u comma v. So this is simple thing, and you are updating the parent of vertices v as u. So u could be reachable from v could be reachable from u. So we have to mark this as black, and black one would be chosen out. If this condition was not true, then you keep on holding this v dot d, means if this condition is not true, then you keep on holding the Keep on holding what? The same v dot u. Then this if condition was not executed, if this is actually not true, so this condition is not true, then the second and third statement won't execute. So if that condition was true, then you actually update this u, that v comma d, with this, the edge that I'm saying, that I'm showing. So this black would be the, in true condition this will happen. If this condition is false, then this will happen. In the case of false, this will happen. So this is false condition. This is true condition of that if statement. So this is how you are actually updating the v dot d, means distance from reaching the v. Now we'll see the breadth first search. Breadth first search is an special case of shortest path where you have the each edge assigned with weight as 1. So this is assigned with weight 1, 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 this is assigned with weight 1. All of them are having weight 1 and it is undirected. So undirected weight assigned as 1 is an special case of shortest path. So breadth first search, as we know that you had already studied this breadth first search, so we are just revising this concept, that how it is related to the shortest path first, and this is related to the, and how this is related to shortest first path algorithm, and this breadth first search is a type of shortest path algorithm, and you had already studied this one. So how this works? Actually, this works like with the queue. So there is a queue, that is q, we denoted as q. So first, this for loop was being done to initialize the whole condition. How? This, all the nodes are set to be with the infinite distance from source, this infinite distance, and they don't have any parents initial level, and you are setting s as the source node, with distance 0, and it is having marked as gray because it is reachable from you. And initially this phi is there, means the queue is initially empty. Now you are assigning what, s to the queue. This s is being assigned, which is having distance 0. So you, after this you start running while loop. What is while loop? The iteration 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So 8 times this while loop will execute. 8 times this while loop will execute. And then what is, so next, this s would be actually dequeued. So s will be dequeued and s will be assigned as u. So in this, s will become u and this will be dequeued. That means this would be removed, and we'll move to the next in the while loop. And how it will be requeued? It will first assign, move to this phase. Means what are the adjacency of s? Adjacency of s is w and r. So first the s, first white is assigned to the, white color is being assigned to the, to those which are reachable. Means if it is white, means unreachable is there. If it is unreachable, means there's infinity is there, means white color is being there. So you are actually assigning gray color first. So you are assigning gray color for all the, for all the w and r in the list. So the gray was being assigned to r and gray has been assigned to the w. And what was the distance for reaching W and R? It is 1 and 1. Why it is 1 and 1? Because the simple distance 1 and 1. For all the edges, it's 1. But now when you do the second iteration of this while, so you are actually removing this W, and you are then putting what are the reachability of a W. You are assigned that W with black. This was assigned with the black, and now you are setting what you are again started running this. You actually dequeue this queue with that W, and you do the adjacency for that vertex of W. What is the adjacency of vertex? This T and X. So this T and X has been added, and you'll calculate this distance. What is the distance? U dot D is 1, means reaching 1. W is with 1 plus 1. 1 plus 1 is what? 2. So the 2 will be assigned to the T, and 2 will be assigned to the 2, to the X. 2 is assigned to the X. Then for each this T and X, you say W is their parent. So W is their parent. Then in the similarly you do the third iteration. In the third iteration, you are actually removing this R, dequeuing this R, and doing the adjacency list of that R. And what was the adjacency list of that R? Means this one, this one. So the adjacency list is contain only V, this one. And again you do 1 plus 1, and it's reachable to 1, because R is reachable from 1 plus R dot V is 1 plus 1 is there. R dot V plus 1 means 2. So the 2 will be assigned to this. Similarly, again when you go, then you again remove this T. This time when you do the T removal, it will have U and X. Again following the same thing, you end up with the there is only one thing which was being added. What was that one thing which was being added? This U is the only thing which was being added, and you would have actually 2 plus 1. 2, this 2 plus 1. So what is 2 plus 1? It's 3. So this is 3. It's third node, third distance from the third order from the source node, you can say like this. Then again you have topmost part as the front end of the queue is this X. X has been removed. And what if you remove X, then what happened? This Y will be added. Y would have what? 2 plus 1. This 2 plus 1. What is 2 plus 1? 3. So 3 would be the distance of reaching Y. Similarly, you go to the next step, and in the next step, you remove V. This time you remove V. And what will happen if you remove V? So this V is being removed, and find out what were the connected unreachable part. Means what are the white was there from V. There's nothing, so you don't add anything. Again you go to the U, you go to the W, you go to the U, and you find that there is nothing that is unreached, means there is no white, means this condition is not true, so nothing would be executed in this, and you don't do anything, and you mark this U as black. So black is being marked. Then you this remove this Y, and you search that there is nothing white over connected with that Y, and this condition again false, so nothing will be executed in if statement, so this will not execute for Y. And now you mark this Y as what? Y as black. And this condition, now Q will become phi, because you had removed Y and nothing is there in the Q. So this condition will be true. Now this condition, no, this condition will be true. This is true. So this is true. Now if this is true, what you have to do? you have to stop this while loop. So the while loop will be stopped, and you will reach out that this will be the path. It means this will be the, you say this will be the tree. Oh, sorry. So there is a source S which is having this and this. So there is edge like this, and it is having path like this, like this. So this is the tree which has been formed. There's a tree like this. So this is shortest path tree, you can say, and it has been derived from the breadth-first algorithm, where weights are just one. And this is how you actually use this breadth-first algorithm for undirected weight of edges one as the shortest path algorithm. Next, we'll see Bellman-Ford algorithm in the next class. I hope that you had enjoyed this whole lecture. And any question that you want to ask, then you can ask. Any question?
So what was the definition for shortest path tree?
So, shortest path tree definition, as we had seen, that this was the definition that we had seen. So it's a kind of subgraph. It's a kind of subgraph which is having a root as source node as S. So with the this condition should hold that V dash is the subset of the all the vertices in the graph G, and E dash is the subset of all the edges in the graph G. And these three conditions should have to be true in case of making this shortest path tree. This V dash should be the be reachable, means all the vertices in the sets should be reachable from the source S, because S is the root node and S is the source node we are considering. And we are saying that there is a graph G dash, means the graph shortest path tree that we are defining. So this G dash is the shortest path tree, which should have S as the root node. So S is the root node, and there have two condition. Third condition should be true, like all the vertices in V, all the vertices in V should have unique simple path from S to V. There is a path from S to V, means every vertices should be reachable in that tree from the root node as S, and there should be the shortest path from the S to V. So the S to V must have the unique simple shortest path. So these three condition, if this three condition would be true, then we can define the shortest path tree. And these are the example of the shortest path tree. This is example one, and this is example two. So example one, this is the way how the shortest path tree would be there, and this is the example two. So the why I discuss this and explain this, this is a mathematical way of defining, means mathematical definition. This is how you define formally something. You know, you see the rigorousness of defining this. This is mathematical definition. This is math definition. So this is how actually you define something formally in mathematics, especially in graph theory. So formal math definition, you can say. I hope it is
Okay, sir.
clear. Okay. Any other question?
No, sir.
Okay, so we'll meet in next class. Thanks all of you. So in the next class, we'll discuss this Bellman-Ford algorithm. Till now, we'll finish here, and thanks all of you. We'll see each other and discuss Bellman-Ford algorithm.